Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live. Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
We salute each and every one of you, wherever you are around the world, even as we embark on our show today, as we analyze our politics in the light of the truth beside the turns, the twists, and the give and take that take place by the political players. There's a fire that has been ignited by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on the issue of Equalization Fund and other funds that the government deployed to see to it that the marginalized part of this country gets a fair share of the cake in such a way that they will be able to accelerate development in those regions so that they catch up with the other regions that started ahead of them. Now, it has been 13 years since we got the new constitution in effect. And part of the new constitution provision is this mandatory equalization fund that is extra given to those backward, in quotes, counties to be able to catch up. Now, Gachagua brought up some controversy on the same. He said 13 years later, the government should have spent around 300 billion Kenya shillings for that particular purpose. But the shocking reality is these areas don't seem to be transforming. These areas don't seem to be developing. So questions are being raised. Where is this money going to? How is it being spent? And to whose profit is it being spent? And I've been thinking about this. And the more I think about it and the more I look at the whole aspect of the operative systems of our Kenyan government, the more I get, not just annoyed, but disappointed. disappointed in the sense that we seem to have we seem to have I call it a mentality that government funds are there to be squandered and looted for personal gain. And this fight about who should be president, who should be governor, who should be senator, it is never about the people, it's never about the country. It's all about opportunity to loot and make yourself rich using public funds. Now, that, disturbs me a great deal because I don't get it. I mean, don't we have people anymore in this country who think that this country deserves to be developed and deserves to be given required services, and the Kenyans deserve to be, uh, secured in their appropriation of their resources? And so Gachagua, in his, of course, way of expressing himself, says that it appears that the political class of Northeastern specifically are in that office, but when they receive the Equalization Fund, instead of them deploying it and, of course, reinvesting to ensure that the Northeastern, which are, of course, semi-arid, and the other parts that are semi-arid, instead of them working hard to make sure that those areas get developed, that is, put up infrastructure, like right now the debate is about national schools, okay? You see, they will run back to Nairobi with that money and build malls, buy malls or build malls and establish empires within Nairobi. So the money leaves Nairobi, it goes to Garissa, it goes to Marsabit, it goes to Turkana, it goes to West Pokot, it goes to, Tana River and the other semi-arid counties. But as soon as it gets there, it finds its way back to Nairobi, specifically in Isli, to put up mall and, help Nairobi develop faster than Marsabit, than Garissa, than Wajir, than Mandera, and those semi-arid counties. And so we seem to have a leadership that has its priorities misplaced, and the people who are in the, we call them ruling class, have no business with improving the lifestyle of Kenyans. They have no business with improving the status of this country. All they are fighting and jostling for is to get in power to become rich, get in power to pick whatever that is left for them to pick. And this, to me, is not only disappointing, it's immoral, it's evil. That now the taxpayers work hard to ensure that the country at least develops, but the more we issue out the money for the same, the situation remains the same. I talked about this some time back about those semi-arid areas, why they don't want them to be developed during Moi's time and probably Kibaki's time. They were known as part of what is called foreign exchange revenue, foreign exchange ANA, okay? Foreign exchange ANA, like tourism. We need dollars to transact internationally. And so one way of us to get dollars is through tourism. And the other way was those semi-arid areas, because they are running some NGO programs there and all that. So through those NGO programs, there is dollars coming in. And so we are earning foreign exchange by maintaining the semi-arid areas. And now, even after getting the new constitution, it is now becoming clearer that what is in the constitution and what the political class is doing is like day and night. They don't want those areas developed. They don't want those areas transformed, because if they get transformed, they become irrelevant, useless, and they will have nothing to tell the people. I have a prayer for this country. We'll pray it by the time we close the show. But ladies and gentlemen, this is bad news. Well, so Gachagua, with all his faults, with all his inadequacies, there are some things he's saying that are making sense. Where is the 300 billion Kenya shillings that has been dispatched and released? Where is the evidence of the working of that 300 billion Kenya shillings for the past 13 years? Is our government indeed a government? Are our political class indeed leaders for this country? Or they're all thieves, enemies of progress? They are determined to see to it that this country remains crippled. What kind of people are these? Well, let's start with that story even as we engage this night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for choosing to be part of the conversation on Sound Candy Talk. Please, as soon as you get us, invite somebody to join. I see people are joining. TikTokers, siwaoni, karibu sana, like video. Tukaangazia masuala haya kwa pamoja. The link to use to get in the studio for those of you who want to join and of course, share what they feel about the whole talk that we are having here. You are free to. The link, put it in the comment section. And then, of course, the TikTokers, you can place your comment in the, wherever you comment there, and then you'll be able to get the text. But something needs to happen to this country. Something needs to happen to this country. There is a statement that sometime back Mother Karua said, which I believe it is confirming what is going on. She said that in other countries, the countries have mafias, but in our own country, our country doesn't have mafias. The mafias have our country. It appears all government operatives are scams, are scandals, are conduit for misappropriation of public funds. Sad to say, but it appears that is the way it is. So let's start with that Gachagua claim, then we talk.
Finally niseme sisi hatuna shida na mtu yeyote. Mimi nimeongea juzi ya kwamba iko mall iko Isili ambaye ndio inatumika kuleta mchele kuangamiza wakulima Mwea. Nimeona wajumbe wamekutana kusema ati mimi nimeingilia hiyo mall. Mimi sikutaja jina yake, sikuwa naijua, wenyewe ndio wanataja. Sikujua mwenyewe, wenyewe ndio wanataja. Sikujua ametoka jamii gani, wenyewe ndio wanataja. The guilty are afraid. Sisi hatuna shida na jamii ya Wasomali. Mtu moja akiiba, the community of Somali is innocent. You leaders from the Somali community, don't profile your community. Munaingiza community kwa shida ya mtu moja kwa nini? I have tremendous respect for the Somali community. These are honorable people, very serious and honest businessmen. Lakini wanasiasa wanataka shida ya mfanyabiashara moja kwa sababu wanachukua pesa kwake waingize kwa issue ya community. I don't think even the Americans have any problem with the community of the Somali people. But if you are one or two people wako na shida, don't drag the community into a personal problem ya mfanyabiashara. Finally niseme sisi hatuna shida na mtu yeyote. Mimi nimeongea juzi ya kwamba iko mall iko Isili ambaye ndio inatumika kuleta mchele kuangamiza wakulima.
Leaders from Northern Kenya,
nimeona wajumbe
Garissa,
wamekutana kusema
Mandera, Marsabit, Tana River, Turkana, Nembe. Hakuna maendeleo, hakuna barabara, hakuna maji, hakuna hospitali. Literally there's nothing. You have the same leaders, not even leaders, politicians. Because there's a big difference between a politician and a leader. Kuna tofauti kubwa sana kati ya mwanasiasa na kiongozi. You're busy investing billions of money in Nairobi, buying luxury apartments, high-end businesses, and even properties outside Kenya at the expense of taxpayers' money. Hamjiulizi hii pesa ni nani, inatoka wapi? Mtu anakuwa tu MCA juzi, sahizi ana own 100 apartments in Nairobi. How? Most of this money ni pesa ya mwananchi maskini. Ni pesa ya mama ambaye anatembea kilomita 10 kutafuta maji. Ni pesa ya mtoto yatima anayesomea chini ya mti. Ogopeni Mungu bana. This is not leadership. This is economic violence. You are terrorizing your own people who voted for you. And most of you guys are drunk in power. Watu ambao wamejisahau. Hii dunia mtaacha. Kwani wangapi walikuwa kwa hizo viti mbele yenu na saizi wako wapi? And to the people of Northern Kenya, you need to demand for accountability, transparency, because public money must serve the public, not personal empires. My name is Muhammad Ali Magical Moha, a proud Kenyan journalist, an activist for justice, and a human rights defender. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you. God bless Kenya.
For the first time, I have seen and heard Rigathi Gachagua talking sense and facts. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, umerepresent watu wengi wa Northeastern. I am personally from Marsabit County, and I have seen dhuluma ile inaendelea Marsabit County. I have seen ukora ile inaendelea Marsabit County. I have seen wizi ile inaendelea Marsabit County. But once you try to talk about corruption in Marsabit, wanakukidnap, wanakutishia, they threaten you so that huwezi ongea. But reality is coming. Reality is here with us. Completely no development in Marsabit County. That is fact. Kama unakataa ati kuna development Marsabit, jitokeze tuone. Utuonyeshe hizo development ni gani na gani. Barabara ni mbaya, mashule ni mbaya, health sector ni mbaya. Hakuna maji, hakuna stima. And yet tuko na allocation ya pesa mingi kuliko kaunti zingine. From 2013 up to date, Marsabit County wame receive more than 76.8 billion shillings. 76.8 billion shillings zimeenda wapi? So, Rigathi Gachagua, ile kitu umesema ni ukweli na ni ukweli mtupu. Mimi kama youth from Marsabit County, na kuambia asante sana, umerepresent watu wengi, wale wamenyamazishwa, wale wame threateniwa ati wasiongee vitu kama hizo. But sai kila kitu imejitokeza. Thank you so much. For the first time, I have seen and heard Rigathi Gachagua talking sense and facts. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua.
Okay, there you have it. There is very little or no development in that part of Kenya. In fact, there is a phrase that goes on when you go a bit. I've been personally in Marsabit twice when we were taking relief food that you guys contributed, and the place is backward. It's backward. So there is a phrase that said when you're leaving Marsabit, Wajir, or the other northeastern of Kenya coming to Nairobi, they tell you when you arrive in Kenya, greet them. okay? Meaning they don't see themselves as part of Kenya, and they are left behind in terms of the development and the whole transformation of the place. And the purpose of devolution, the reason why the clause on devolution was fought so much, and of course led by the late legend Raila Odinga, forcefully ensured that it is part of the 2010 constitution was to accelerate development and was to help these marginalized areas to catch up with the rest of the country, because you moving from Nairobi to Marsabit is like you've gone to another country. It doesn't give one a good picture. Secondly, we are competing on all levels at equal levels, meaning the national exam is given to all the Kenyan students. Same questions, same paper, but the environment where the students are learning is not equal. The children in Nairobi have their classrooms. Their classrooms are well made. They are secure. The teachers are available and all that. Other parts, students have to walk kilometers to class. That classroom is made of mud. Others are studying under the tree. And so the backwardness of poor development is so much in those marginalized areas that it's supposed to be addressed as an agency. So when the marginalization or whatever, not marginal, equalization fund was passed to ensure that these areas that are left behind catch up with the rest, meaning if the allocation to every county is a billion Kenya shillings, there are specific counties that get extra funding so that it makes for the difference. Let's say Nairobi receives a billion from the national government. Marsabit should receive a billion and maybe another 100 million or 200 million extra to help into its infrastructure and other necessities for development. But the wonder is that I'm told, like Marsabit, I'm told that the governor mortgages a house in America with that fund. Meaning when the check is released from Treasury to Marsabit County or to Garissa County or whatever county, the check is cashed elsewhere and it never even hits the books of accounts. It never hits the Marsabit soil. It just flies across the sea and pays mortgage for a person's home in America. And so with this kind of revelations, we can't help but see that our enemies is ourselves. Our enemies are our own self. I thought that the fight for you to become governor is because you're concerned about the backwardness and the left behind of your region. That's what I thought. Maybe because I'm a preacher or something like that. The reason you want to be governor, the reason you want to be in charge of the resources, is it so that you loot it or you put it to good use? So you want to tell me that somebody's comfortable carrying all the money that is meant for building schools, all the money that's meant for building hospitals, all the money that's meant for building roads, and put it in his name, cash it in his name, and continues to say, hiyo ni maendeleo. So hayo ndio maendeleo yepi? And so there must be an explanation. Because by now, 10 years difference, Marsabit should be looking different if indeed the money being released is being put to use. It should not be continuing as it is. There was another feature story about one of those counties, I don't want to name them, where they don't have sewer system, where they still use the traditional way bucket system of carrying human waste. At this time and age, with the advanced technology, we still want to maintain that when there is money allocated. Apana. And so as Kenyans, please, let's call a conference with ourselves. Who are these people we placed in leadership? Why did we put them in leadership in the first place? What criteria do we put in consideration to decide who becomes our governor? This is a conversation we must have, because there must be something amiss somewhere. Let me use my own county. I come from Kakamega County, and moving. I'm a preacher too, so I I travel around, and moving from Eldoret, that was in Gishu County. You get to Bungoma County, and then of course Kakamega. You can branch and go to Busia, Vihiga, and then go back to Kakamega. There is a wide difference between Vihiga and Kakamega, like day and night. Is a difference between Kakamega and Busia, like day and night. Is a difference between Kakamega and Bungoma, like day and night. And I wonder why. Because Kakamega under Oparanya, the development is clear. The city has taken shape. The place looks lifted. Kisumu the same. Then you go to other counties, they are still the same way they used to look when they were municipal council, when they were county council. So what is the problem? It all zeroes into one thing: the person you gave leadership to. And if there is anything I will preach and continue to preach to Kenyans, don't give leadership to people you know will not do the work they are supposed to do. The character of the leader must come in play before we decide who becomes what where. We must revert back to the traditional way of electing people or appointing people to leadership. Yes, their background check, their character, the kind of people they are, what were they while they were in school, can they cause transformation? Or they're just eaters looking for something to eat? Because this is what is clear here. And so the same amount allocated to Busia was the same amount allocated to Kakamega, if I'm not wrong. Okay? The same amount allocated to Vihiga, which is very small. Vihiga County is a small area. It's like, I think there should be two or three Vihigas that make up Kakamega. Kakamega is big. Okay? So the same money allocated to Kakamega that has clear transformation, okay, it's the same one allocated to a smaller county like Vihiga, but you can't find a clear transformation in Vihiga like you see it in Kakamega. Why? It zeroes to the leader. And so, what are we going to do when it comes to leadership? Are we still going to go back to what, Northeastern, they have a culture of deciding who becomes governor, senate, and all that is shared, cost sharing? Eh? okay, communities, elders come together and then decide and all that. But why should you put thieves in leadership and there is absolutely nothing they are doing and you want to sustain them in there? And so Kenyans tunapaswa kujiita conference, tujiongeleshe, tujiulize, mbona hakuna national school Garissa? Mbona hakuna national school Marsabit? Ni kwa sababu hakuna hela ama hakuna nini? Kwa sababu hela zilitumwa na zimetumwa kila mwaka for 13 years. Mnataka kuniambia hakuna wote au magavana wote, hakuna ile alifikiria kwamba hii region inahitaji university, hii region inahitaji a national school? And then why are you in the office in the first place? Because I have explained here, the purpose of devolution was for people to deal with their problems, unique problems in their own way. Meaning the problems in Kakamega are not the problems in Marsabit. So the purpose of devolution and the reason why they are MCS, who are the locals, are supposed to bring agenda on the floor of the house that is geared towards dealing with the problems that is affecting the people in that particular county. So if lack of water is the problem, that should be the first priority in the order paper. And when it comes to budgeting, that should be to ensure that that is done for the people. But the feeling I get when I look around the whole operative of the government is that we are keen in maintaining a government, but not in delivering the services. Wewe unataka tu kufurahia kuitwa MCA, yani mheshimiwa. Unafurahia kuitwa mheshimiwa, wewe ni mbunge. Unafurahia kuitwa your excellence, wewe ni governor. Na sasa imekuwa sasa tena ni haki ya hao magavana kuitwa excellence, kuitwa mheshimiwa, mpaka sasa imekuwa ndio ajira yao ni kufight ili wakuwe governor, waitwe your excellency. But kazi ya ugavana ya kuhakikisha kwamba matatizo ya wananchi yametatuliwa na miradi ambayo inafaa maendeleo ya wananchi ndiyo inapewa kipaumbele, it doesn't bother them. So kazi yao ni kuzurura na magari na bendera na kutisha wananchi na kuiba mali ya umma. Hapana, we can't develop like that. Alafu tunakuja hapa na strange slogans za kusema sasa tunaelekea Singapore. Tutaelekea Singapore hivi? Haya, mnijibu. Nataka majibu. Is this how we're going to be first world? I don't think so. And so there must be a follow-up program. 300 billion. No serious university. No serious national school. No serious road infrastructure or whatever, transport infrastructure. Hapana. Questions must be asked and answers must be demanded. So sijui nani atasema tunaonea watu. Hii sio kuonea watu. Lazima ukweli ujulikane. Tuko serious kubadilisha nchi ama serikali imekuwa tu ni game ya kuchezea? Unaingia kwa power, unakula, unamaliza, unaenda, mwingine anakuja, anakula, anaenda. Kama ni hivyo basi hakuna haja kuwa na serikali, hakuna haja kuwa na watu wanaitwa waheshimiwa, hakuna haja. Waache wananchi wajitawale vile wanataka na wafanye vile wanavyotaka, kwa sababu hatuwezi kuendelea hivi. Ati serikali nzima imekuwa formality. Tunaenda bunge ni formality. Tunaenda wherever, Supreme Court ni formality. Yani mahali pa kupitia tu. No. And so I think we need to have audit. Not audit for auditors going around. We just need to audit this 13 years of devolution, what has gone on? Why hasn't these places that were supposed to be catching up with the rest of the country are still at the same place or worse? Why? Because the reason they remain behind, because the previous government used to deny them funding. Mnakumbuka siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. Kama au support serikali, au pewi maendeleo, allocation yako inapewa wengine. So walikuwa wananyimwa hela za maendeleo. Sasa devolution ikakuja, new constitution ikasema ni lazima hiyo hela ipeanwe. Hiyo hela inapeanwa kila mara, na isipopeanwa unaona magovernors wakienda kwa strike, unaona hii mambo yote inafanyika. So kama pesa imepeanwa for 13 years, itakuwaje we still have got wherever we've got no hospitals in Marsabit, there are no roads in Marsabit, there is no clean water in Marsabit, there's no national school in Marsabit after 13 years. Are we serious? And this is specifically for those leaders from that particular region. Yeah. So without discriminating and saying that the children in Marsabit should not join Alliance or wherever the other national schools in the other counties, that is not what we are saying. What we are saying is, for how long are you going to be eating at your neighbor's place? If your neighbor had pity on you and gave you something to eat, did it now become your right that you will have to be eating from your neighbor? I don't think so. There are cases where you get into a crisis as a family, and because you're not able to sustain yourself, you get accommodated in somebody's house. That is a crash program whereby you are being given a leave for your life so that you reorganize your life and then move back to your own life. And so if we've been accommodating everybody because these places are harsh places, they are hostile places, the weather is not friendly and things like that, then the framers of the constitution and of course, those that wanted this country to develop now came up with a mechanism. Let's now make sure that these places don't remain without proper funding for their development. We allocated the money and now handed the money to the county government. The county government has MCAs who are the locals, who know where the shoe pinches. And still, we can't deploy that money for the transformation of those regions. We are still fighting that it is tribalism to segregate or, wanaonea watu fulani. Hapana. And so, jicho pevu. I don't specifically refer to Mheshimiwa Moha. What I mean is that we must put a close eye on those regions and find out what is the problem. Because by now, we need to be talking about a new Marsabit, a new Ajir, a new Garissa, a new Turkana, all together. There must be some self-sustenance by now. The livelihood of the people in the place needs to be different by now. 13 years is a long time. So Kenyans, do you want business as usual? Or we do business that really matters? And then, of course, as I conclude on that particular story, I want to say that as Kenyans, we must begin to think seriously on the state of our country. Whether it's a culture we inherited or a mentality we developed, that government offices are for personal gain and government opportunities are for enriching oneself. Wherever that demon came from, we should let it go. we need to have a sense of responsibility. Like I said, we have not suddenly become 60 million. There was a time when we were less than 10 million Kenyans. Yes, there was a time when we were less than 10 million Kenyans. Now we have become 60 million. It did not happen like that. It has progressively grown. That progressive growth was meant to be sustained by a forward-thinking government. That is between 2020, now we are in 2025, okay? So between 2025 and 2032, the population will have grown from 55 million to 65 million. Do we have infrastructure to carry 65 million? Do we have road infrastructure that is able to carry 55 million, 65 million? Do we have enough schools to contain the children from these 65 million Kenyans? Do we have hospitals to take care of these 65 million Kenyans? That's how government operates. At least that's what I understand the government should operate. That we anticipate, like the KCSE exam came out yesterday. And the people that sat for KCSE exam, my God, it was 939, is it 939? Almost a million, okay, students. Now guess how many who qualified to go to the university? Out of 939,000, only 227,000 qualified for the university. Do you know the deficit? The deficit, if you get 900, if you get 227 from 939, what's the difference? And this difference, you know, that difference is wider, okay? So we are talking about there are 939,000, only 227 will make are eligible for university, and so we have a deficit of almost that is around 600. Okay, 600,000. Nobody's talking about those. Okay, and they are the majority. Are you getting the picture? And so this that did not make it for the cut for going to the university, that are not, nobody covers them in the news. Nobody discusses them. They are forgotten simply because they failed an exam or they didn't meet the threshold for going to the university. So we now celebrate this 227,000, and then of course the 227,000 maybe 100 will make it to the university, and then they will have another deficit of these other ones that are hanging, and eventually what will happen? And you tell us we are having a working government? Apana. So I invite us to think outside the box. And as Kenyans, let's think practically. I know wakati siasa itafunguliwa na mazungumzo yaanze, wote tutaingia na hiyo kasumba ya one term, two term. Ishaingia hiyo kasumba, iko kila mahali. So hakuna mtu anataka kufikiria practically, hakuna mtu anataka kuangazia hili swala jinsi lilivyo. Tunataka tu kujipumbaza na kulewa na hiyo kasumba ya one term, two term, one term, two term. Na mambo ndio haya. So kama wanafunzi 900,000 walikalia mtihani, hao wote zaidi ya 600,000 did not make it to the mark required for them to go to the university. Where are they going to be assimilated? Okay? Or their story has ended there? What is the government measure for the same? Now, these 939,000 students did not come from the air. They did not drop from the sky. They are members of those counties. They are members of those counties, those sub-counties. And that's where my battle and my war with elected leaders starts. How can you be the MP of your area or the MC of your area and you don't know how many students in your sub-county or your county sat for an exam? And you are leading that particular section. Are you indeed leading? If you don't know how many sat for the exam, how many passed to the university, how many will need to go to the TVET, how many will require to repeat, how many will require to be sponsored so that they do other work, whatever, trainings. I thought that is what leadership is. And so let's stop the games. This country will collapse under our watch if we continue thinking the way we are thinking and operating the way we are operating. Leave 1 term, 2 term with the propagators. Let's get under their skin. Let's push them to tell us what has 300 billion done since it has been allocated for 13 years in your county. Okay, asante sana na washukuru wote mnaojiunga nasi tunapoendelea na mchakato huu. Hiyo ni topic najua ni kali lakini lazima tuizungumzie, na wale ambao wanaogopa shauri yao. Ni lazima tuangazie masuala haya jinsi yalivyo kwa sababu ni muhimu. Na nchi hii inapaswa kuendelea. Nchi hii inapaswa kuendelea. Na wale ambao wanaona kwamba serikali ni ya kutumia kujinufaisha, hao ndio wanapaswa kukamatwa. Hao ndio wanapaswa kufungiwa mbali. Yaani wafungiwe mbali kabisa. This country has enough resources to become anything it wants to become. But wrong people in leadership can't allow that to happen. Are we going to sustain the wrong people in leadership? Or are we going to reject them, resist them, bind them, and cast them out? The choice is yours. Well, let's keep going. Let's listen to this. Now, I saw this. I thought it is fake news until I got this video. So I hope the video is accurate. Just listen to this.
Unajua lazima haiwezi kuwa free for now kwa sababu hatuna pesa ya kutosha kufanya ikuwe free. We must be honest to ourselves. Kuna wakati tulisema itakuwa free karibu university sifungwe kwa sababu we couldn't afford. So we must progressively. Wakati tunazalisha uchumi ndio itafika wakati tutakuwa na uwezo wa kulipia kila mtu. For now it has to be a partnership between the government, parents and other stakeholders. Unajua lazima.
Okay, that is the president explaining on why education cannot be free. What is his explanation? There is not enough money. There is not enough money to make education free in this country. The contradiction is that every week, every day, there is money being thrown around. So, there's money for 4 billion to be spent at State House. There's money to be given as handouts to 10,000 teachers who visited State House. There is money to be given to maendeleo ya wanawake, I mean women groups, empowerment programs. There is money to be donated to churches. There is money even to force the bishops to accept even when they have rejected the money. But there is not enough money to make education free in our country. That tells you where the problem is. If we want to be completely honest with what Ruto is saying in that particular clip, is that education is not a serious priority to be allocated the money. They have more pressing issues, more urgent issues, more important issues than education. So they are concentrating on those issues. Yes. So when they have finished those issues, they will think about making education free. As a man thinketh, the Bible says, so is he. What you don't give priority to, it can never get allocation. And so, is education important to William Ruto? In your own analysis, in your own observation, does William Ruto believe in education? Just scan William Ruto all the way from 1992 or even before to where he is now. Has he ever shown, demonstrated that he believes that education is important? Who is the propagator of leadership can be? You don't need to be educated. Leadership, you are picked by God and you lead. You don't need to be educated. And so, when you give education to people who don't believe in education, you hand the running of education to people who don't believe in education. Will education survive? Our country is suffering because we have wrong people in wrong places. And let the coming elections be an opportunity you have to correct your wrong. In my opinion, there is enough money for free education at all levels in this country. The only problem is the people in power don't believe that education is that important. Yeah, they don't believe. There's a clip where he talks about he's going to give out money to people and their qualification is because they are not qualified. So you're not being qualified is a qualification for you to get money from William Ruto. Can you imagine that? Now, I'm not saying that people should not be assisted or there should be no other, what we call affirmative action in terms of ensuring that everybody's catered for. But when you speak as head of state and president and you say, we are looking for people who are not qualified, people who dropped out of school, people who did not, and we are going to give them money and train them for 2 weeks for them to start business. Now, that's a different ballgame. But what we see here is a clear cut that education is not important to this administration. That is why it's ailing. And then the other thing is that I say the education got spoiled in this country when it became a business. And that is also one of the reasons why our country is suffering. Because people are in government to do business with government. And William Ruto in particular, he would want to invest where there is business. Okay? What I mean by that is that if you pump, let's say, 10 billion in education, okay? How many contracts can you get in education that, of course, can plow back and give you money? Education is paying teachers. Is it printing textbooks? Maybe. Printing textbooks and maybe exercise books. So those are not good deals. They are not, good contracts like road infrastructure, okay? So as a government, we allocate more money to this roads infrastructure because huko tunaweza kufanya deals za kutengeneza hela. Now, nasema tu ya mambo ili uelewe, okay? The mentality of the administration. So, rafiki zangu ambao wako na kampuni za kutengeneza barabara, kampuni za kujenga affordable housing, you get the picture? And so, most of the allocation, we put it where we are harvesting the money. You get the picture? Now, this is the main problem. And so, since kwa education, hakuna hizi deals, okay? Hakuna deals ya wewe kuchukua kampuni yako iende kutengeneza pesa wakati umeallocate hizo pesa. And so we will starve education and pump extra money in roads that we go and tap on the other end in the name of we are the contractors, we are the constructors, we are the builders, we are the engineers. And so, if there will be a change in this country, we must revert to the policy that government officials must not do business with government. Any person who is in government must not do business with government. The moment that is established and people heads begin to roll, we will see good happen to this country. But in the meantime, hii game itaendelea, huu mchezo utaendelea. Well, I appreciate all of you that part of the conversation. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike, masandio haya yanaendelea kukatika na tunapoendelea na mchakato huu. I want to leave you this before I need to do something about the TikTok clip. Let's hear what the oppositions are saying about IEBC.
The United Opposition now says the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is not fit to run a credible election in 2027. Opposition leaders are demanding that IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan Hussein step aside, insisting the commission must cancel its contract with Smartmatic. The company is applying digital devices used to conduct elections. And as Electin Odera now reports, the opposition is also rallying Ukambani residents to register in large numbers as voters, saying this will strengthen Kalonzo's influence while picking a presidential candidate for the opposition.
A burial in Kadeni, Machakos County turned political as opposition leaders used the platform to launch scathing attacks against President William Ruto, questioning his ability to steer the country beyond 2027.
Na mimi nataka kuambia Kasongo na watu yake, muachane na familia yetu. Sijui mko na familia zenu? Mnauliza nini familia yetu? Mambo ya familia mtajulia wapi?
The opposition leaders also insisted that IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan Hussein must resign and the contract with Smartmatic, the company supplying election technology, should be terminated.
Marjan cannot, hawezi kusimamia uchaguzi ujao as CEO because atakuwa amebakisha sijui 1 year up to next year. So the best thing he commission imuunde apatiwe whatever balance yake atoke because he is the problem.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua accused President Ruto alongside some elected leaders of harassing his supporters.
Mimi nilimwambia wewe William Ruto, mimi nilikusaidia na watu ya mlima ukakuwa rais. Nilisanya watu ya mlima nikakupatia. Mimi nitawasanya wote vile niliwasanya kukusaidia kukupeleka nyumbani.
Na sisi kama upinzani hatutakubali hii serikali iweze kuinterfere with that sacred freedom ambayo ina guarantee freedom of worship to all of us. Sio tu makanisa, sisi sote tukiwa wa Kenya.
In defending Kalonzo Musyoka against criticism of his development record, Gachagua accused Ruto of amassing wealth through corruption. Other leaders declared Kalonzo Musyoka the only figure capable of taking over Kenya's leadership.
Lakini ile uongo ambaye imenishangaza, yani imefika mahali viongozi wanaenda kutengeneza kitu inaitwa polls. Ati anasema ati ule ndio anapendekana sana Kenya kuliko yule mwingine. Those
fake polls are a lie. Na lazima tuzikondemn tukiwa kwa kanisa. Kenya registered 996,000 plus students for Form 4 exam. Only 270 students qualify to go to university. The rest cannot go to university. Do we need to go to Singapore, or do we need to fix education for this future country?
The rallying call was for residents of Ukambani to register in large numbers as voters, a move that leaders said would strengthen Kalonzo Musyoka's bargaining power in the opposition's presidential candidate selection process. Elected Odera, NTV, in Kadhiani, Machakos County.
The United Opposition now...
Okay, there you have it. As Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, and the other political leaders are raising red flag about the CEO of IEBC and his swiftness to renew contracts with the suspicious Smartmatic company that is now exposed worldwide to be a tool for bungling elections. Now, Kalonzo, they are saying that I call them marijuana. It's not marijuana, Marijana, okay? Marijan is the problem at IEBC and he must go. I see this is a storm wherever building up that may result into shaking IEBC towards the general elections. But truth be told, the impunity by which we are flouting the law in this country is alarming. And the people leading into that onslaught of the rule of law are people that are supposed to be relied on. They are supposed to be examples. So when you are charged with the responsibility like a CEO of a sensitive institution like IEBC, why would you turn it into a cash cow? Okay, you had those claims about the former chairman of IEBC, the late Chebukati, hawking the presidency by asking how much you give me so that I declare you president, because if I don't declare, you can't be president. And so it's clear here that Marijan and team are not keen about conducting elections. They are keen about who can pay to be in office, who can pay to be made a winner, who can pay to be made. And so this operative of criminal elements, is it now an acceptable culture in this country? Is it now an acceptable way of the operativeness of this country? Can we now accept that the government officials are officially empowered and ratified to go and break the law? Can we now say that? Because Marijan amekuwa Supreme Court mara ngapi sasa? 2017 twice. 2022, from 2013. Something needs to happen to this country. And so I share those sentiments by Kalonzo. Marijan should not conduct another election. He should not be the CEO to conduct another election in this country. That's number one. Number two, that contract with the Smartmatics needs to go, because the questions around it is what played a great deal in the Supreme Court. And so, except that there is a clear cut of the determination to rig the elections, and so they must rig themselves in office. Kenyans have rejected them, and so they must make themselves what they are. And for that, they must keep wrong people in wrong place in those places. Then let it be made official. Let it be made official. But hii maneno ya kudanganya umma mzima kwamba tunaenda uchaguzi na mshachagua nani, tunapanga foleni mapema kwenda kupiga kura, kumbe hiyo kura tunapiga haihesabiki, haiwezi kuamua lolote. Tuachane tu nayo. Then even Marjan himself is the problem is clear. 2022 aliitisha na Chebukati wakaitisha 42, was it 42 or 45 billion to conduct election, 48 billion or something like that. Guess how much they're asking for now? 2027, they want 62 billion, 20 billion, a difference of 5 years. Ni makaratasi imepanda bei, kura yenyewe ama ni nini? Mnuambie. So inaonekana hapa kila kitu hapa Kenya ni kutengeneza pesa tu, kwa sababu we spend a lot of money when we were transiting from the manual system of conducting elections to the digital system. So we are buying the Kim's Kids and are they called Kim's Kids? Yes, and all that. So a lot of money was spent in 2013 and 2017 because we are buying those assets. Right now, we are not buying those assets. How come the money keeps rising? That's my question. If you're starting a business, let's say you're opening a cyber cafe and you're making investments, the first investment will be higher because you are buying everything. You're paying goodwill, you are furnishing the place, you are restructuring the place, you are buying all the operating machinery and all that. So you will spend a lot of money. But you can't spend more money next year if you're not doing if the things you bought, okay, no longer needs to be bought. The business needs to be running. And so IEBC inapaswa kufanyiwa uchunguzi kuanzia kwa hela au uchaguzi wenyewe. Audit ya uchaguzi from 2013, 2017, 2022 imefanywa. Ikifika kwa audit wanasema hawana pesa ya kufanya hiyo, lakini ikifika uchaguzi wanataka pesa ya uchaguzi, na hiyo pesa ya uchaguzi wanaitisha nyingi. So parliament, I think they were questioning that 62 billion. I don't know how far they have gone with deciding, but you can see clearly the CEO and his cronies there are there to make money. And that is the beginning of the problems of our country. People that are in public office to make money, using public office to make money. Let's do what we must do. And that is change this country. And we will change this country by standing against evil people like this one here. Wao umekatazwa kwamba hii kampuni ilileta shida. Walisema wafungue server, wasema hawezi fungua server because it will what? Compromise you what? It's against their contract and all that. Wakacheza namna hii, mambo ya elections ikaharibika. Tena hao ambao walikataa kufungua server, hao ndio Marijani amekimbia tena kurenew hiyo contract, waendelee kuprovide election system for conducting election. You can only do that because you want the repeat of what happened. And so I agree with the Kalonzo and team. Marijan must go. And the earlier we send him away, the better. Because we can't continue like this. And then, of course, there is that issue of... okay, let me just get that.
The United Opposition now says the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is not fit to run a credible election in 2027. Opposition leaders are demanding that IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan Hussein step aside, insisting the commission must cancel its contract with Smartmatic. The company is applying digital devices used to conduct elections. And as Electin Odera now reports, the opposition is also rallying Ukambani residents to register in large numbers as voters, saying this will strengthen Kalonzo's influence while picking a presidential candidate for the opposition.
A burial in Kadeni, Machakos County turned political as opposition leaders used the platform to launch scathing attacks against President William Ruto, questioning his ability to steer the country beyond 2027.
Na mimi nataka kuambia Kasongo na watu yake, muachane na familia yetu. Sijui mko na familia zenu? Mnauliza nini familia yetu? Mambo ya familia mtajulia wapi?
The opposition leaders also insisted that IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan Hussein must resign and the contract with Smartmatic, the company supplying election technology, should be terminated.
Marjan cannot, hawezi kusimamia uchaguzi ujao as CEO, because atakuwa amebakisha sijui 1 year up to next year. So the best thing he commission imuunde apatiwe whatever balance yake atoke, because he is the problem.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua accused President Ruto alongside some elected leaders of harassing his supporters.
Mimi nilimwambia wewe William Ruto, mimi nilikusaidia na watu ya mlima ukakuwa rais. Nilisanya watu ya mlima nikakupatia. Mimi nitawasanya wote vile niliwasanya kukusaidia kukupeleka nyumbani.
Na sisi kama upinzani hatutakubali hii serikali iweze kuinterfere with that sacred freedom ambayo ina guarantee freedom of worship to all of us. Sio tu makanisa, sisi sote tukiwa wa Kenya.
In defending Kalonzo Musyoka against criticism of his development record, Gachagua accused Ruto of amassing wealth through corruption. Other leaders declared Kalonzo Musyoka the only figure capable of taking over Kenya's leadership.
Lakini ile uongo ambaye imenishangaza, yani imefika mahali viongozi wanaenda kutengeneza kitu inaitwa polls. Ati anasema ati ule ndio anapendekana sana Kenya kuliko yule mwingine. Those fake polls are a lie. Na lazima tuzicondemn tukiwa kwa kanisa.
Kenya registered 996,000 plus students for Form 4 exam. Only 270 students qualify to go to university. The rest cannot go to university. Do we need to go to Singapore, or do we need to fix education for this future country?
The rallying call was for residents of Ukambani to register in large numbers as voters, a move that leaders said would strengthen Kalonzo Musyoka's bargaining power in the opposition's presidential candidate selection process. Elected Odera, NTV.
Okay, there you have it. I just wanted you to capture that and see what Gachagua claims there. Ruto amassing wealth, and then of course the issue on education. We talked about it. We've talked about it extensively. We saw celebration everywhere. There was reports about improvement here and there. But like I said, those figures tell a lot about the state of education. Because if you have 1 million people sitting for an exam and 50% of those did not pass the exam, there is something wrong with education as a whole. So that in itself is a scorecard inaonyesha only 27% okay, of the 100% made it. So is that a pass or a failure? That is it. And so kama tuko tayari kushughulikia education in this country, tuanze kuuliza maswali kama haya. Lakini hii ya kujifurahisha ati shule fulani ilishinda, mwanafunzi fulani alishinda, sijui alikuwa maskini nini, and of course we guys of media have a way of creating stories and carrying the country with it just to blind them from the reality. If you had 100 students in your school and only 7 made to the university, okay? Of the 100 you had in your class, only 27 made to the university. Did that class perform right or properly? Did that class pass the exam? They did not. You couldn't even make it to 50%. that means the difference between who is getting what is being taught and who is missing what is being taught. The majority are missing what is being taught. And so it implies that the education we are offering is not quality, and we are not interested in everybody getting what is being taught. All we are interested in is to cover syllabus, give an exam, and then an explanation. Give an exam, get people to fail the exam, then give an explanation. There you have it. As a people, something needs to happen to us. Kuna minister wa education haja resign. Nyinyi mnataka kuniambia 27%, okay? Ndio walipita mtihani. Alafu kuna minister wa education anapigwa makofi. Rais anasema 2 term for failing the exam and making the students fail exam. Apewe 2 term, sio? Hapana. Turudi kwa scaling ile inafaa. Yes. Vitu ziwekwe kwa mizani vizuri, ziangaliwe vizuri, na Wakenya waone vitu jinsi yalivyo. So tukapo Alliance Girls, so sijui Mangu, sijui what we are, let's go to the nitty-gritty. Of the 100%, only 27 made it. Where is the 70 what? Is it 73 or something like that, if I'm not wrong, with that mathematics? Jesus asked, where are the 9? Yes. Where are these 27 from 100? We get, is it 73? Yes. Where are they? Or why are they? And so if the class doesn't make it to 50%, the whole children who sat for the exam, 50% failed, there's something very wrong. The only time we need to celebrate is that 75%, yes, 75%, my primary school mathematics teacher, Mr. Manyuru of blessed memory, used to give us strokes, serious strokes for failing mathematics paper, and he used to give us mathematics test every Wednesday and Friday. And his pass mark was 75%. Pass marks, 75%. If you don't make it to 75%, you will be beaten and, of course, pushed to make sure that it's mathematics paper, you get 75%. So 75% was the least. And he made sure that he pushes every one of us to get there. So if 75% out of 100% made it to the university, then education is working. But if it's 27% that made it, it was this over 70% that did not make it. Na mnatuambia hapa kuna education inaendelea Kenya, ati kuna walimu, kuna minister wa education, kuna rais anatafuta second term, tunacheza. We are playing games. Let's go and demand, where are the 70%? Where are they going? We've been invested. Tuma pesa capitation. Wote wamefundishwa. Walimu wamekula mshahara. Walimu watueleze hii 70%. Hatuwezi kufanya mtihani. Ni nini kimeendelea katika nchi hii? It doesn't matter anymore. Ati mtu ana deliver 27% alafu bado anapigiwa makofi. Anatafutiwa second term. Tuache ujinga. Sitaki kuharibu nini, na muda ndio huo nataka kufungasha. Lakini hii hapana. Hapana. So on education alone, Ruto should go. This KCSE results alone should send Ruto home. Najua mtaanza kusema kwani Ruto ni mwalimu. Ruto ndo anasimamia education. Yeye ndio mkubwa wa nchi hii. Remember there was I think was it a minister for transport who resigned? Was it in India for a train whenever getting involved in an accident? We must have heads rolling. Lakini ni mchezo tunacheza tu. Tunazungushana tu hapa bure. Ati miaka 8. Miaka ngapi? Miaka 4. You can't deliver even 40%. Ai 27% ndio mnapiga makofi hapa, na rais ndio anaenda kulaunch. Hey. Najua mtanichimba, lakini hapa hapana. Nchi hii imeoza, tukubaliane. Imeoza, standards zimeanguka, na kila mtu anaanza kusherekea vitu ambavyo ni zinapaswa kututia aibu. Yeah, my father, may his soul rest in peace. You came home with a mathematics paper and you got 27%. The slap you will receive, the kneeling you will kneel, the explanation you will give. And now, unasherekea Ruto na huyu anaitwa Okamba for delivering 27%. We are a joke. We are a joke. Muwasukumie hii video. Nimesema they are jokers. They are jokers. 27%. Wacha ni fanyeje. Okay, I think is there anything else left? Pana tumalizia tu na hii mtokoto ODA.
The UDA party, let's go to yet another big or large national party, and that is the ODM party. And the party has drawn a firm line ahead of the 2027 elections, declaring it will only enter government through formal, structured negotiations and not the informal backdoor arrangements that delivered its current stake in the broad-based administration. ODM leader Oburu Oginga said the party, which holds 14 principal secretary positions and several directorships, would not pursue front door talks led by himself. Would now pursue front door talks led by himself, stressing that ODM's leverage would hinge on unity and fully registered membership, and announcing that 2026 would be the year of negotiations with UDA or other parties. Excuse me. He warned that failure of talks would see him contest the presidency as ODM's candidate. Leaders in the party also cautioned members against resisting the broad-based coalition strategy, warning that although dissenters would not be expelled, they risked isolating themselves once party organs ratify critical decisions.
This broad-based coalition, we are not going to send you, we are not going to ask you to resign, but when the party organs make decisions such as ratifying engagement with President William Ruto, you will have no option, you just live on your own.
We cannot afford to wait for 2027 to start planning for 2027 elections. Those plans must be commenced now. And the person mandated by the party constitution is Dr. Wu. That mandate is not shared with anybody else.
We got into this government by accident because the government was shaken by GNC, and we got into this government through the back door, through the window. But now I'm telling you, you people, that as we approach 2027, we are not going to get into a government through the back door. We are going to get in through the front door.
The UDA party, let's go to yet another big or large national party, and that is the ODM party.
Okay, hao ni wana ODM. Huyo ni Oburu ambaye ndiye kiongozi wa ODM sasa hivi. Anasema kwamba mikakati inayowekwa ni kwamba mazungumzo yawe ya kihalali ama official ya kama watakwenda na makubaliano na UDA. Then of course you saw the sycophants there of the beneficiaries of course of the broad-based government and the proponent of the same who are now saying that only Oburu should be the one to lead the negotiations and should be the one to give direction on who do we negotiate with and who do we not negotiate with. I see something sinister there in the sense that they want to make Oburu the law or make Oburu the constitution. I saw also anaitwa Samuel ama Samuel saying the same thing, that anybody refuting what Oburu has said, they should be expelled from the party. We don't operate like that in the modern Kenya. We are a constitutional democracy, and right and wrong is determined by the rule of law. It's not an individual. And so the exaltation of Oburu Odinga to a place where they say that if he will only negotiate with whom Oburu has said and not negotiate with whom Oburu has not said, and nobody else should say anything. That is not how the democracy works. And so there are some leeways that we allow that end up arresting us and making us unable to allow freedom and the liberty for people to think freely and make decisions. And so you can see undertones there. They are still, bitter about the strong stand that Sifuna has demonstrated with other ODM guys, Babu Wino and all that, on the stand with broad-based government. And I believe the Sifuna faction have what is valid. What is valid in terms of ODM has never joined the government and entered into a coalition with the UDA. It's yet to get there. There was only a memorandum of understanding of them offering support. When you offer support, you don't join. You only offer support. And so these people pushing that ODM is in the government, it should stay in the government and work with the government all through, are opportunists who want to get their way by them failing to be responsible. And so the same way they used Raila Odinga and his influence to get elected, now they want to use their association and closeness to William Ruto, hoping that either they will get elected by reason of the same, or they'll be nominated or appointed as CSs in the new government. And so they are pushing, and their commitment to ensure that the William Ruto gets a second term, it is all built on them getting something and not the country improving or transforming. And that to me is selfish and backward. It doesn't belong into this point in time. And therefore, I would want to say that the ODM party needs to get their act together, number one. And number two, they must go back to their tenets of the purpose of its existence. Why does ODM exist as ODM? What does it stand for? And run away from this collaboration of blending in, camouflaging attitude of thinking that their proximity to William Ruto will offer them success. I don't think so. The closer orange gets closer to yellow, the more the confusion. Yes. I've ever seen a dress that is top orange and bottom yellow. Now, I don't want to bring problems here. Matoa yuko ataanza kuteta kwamba tumeongea kuhusu kala yao. Now, niseme tu kwamba tunatumai kwamba mambo yatanyooka na yataenda sawasawa katika chama chetu cha ODM, na uongozi wa Oburu uwe mzuri, na kile ambacho kimeitishwa ni kwamba tunataka NDC watu waende kuamua nani atakuwa kiongozi, nani atakuwa flag bearer. Hii masuala ya kusema kwamba Oburu is automatic presidential candidate for ODM, hiyo haipo. Hata kama katiba ya ODM inasema hivyo, it is subject to the honor and the respect we had for Raila Odinga, and there is only one Raila Amolo Odinga. Okay, after that hiyo kiti inafunguliwa, kwani si haikuwa ODM wakati tulienda Kasarani na kukakuwa na nomination. William Ruto alikuwa alitaka kuwa presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, Balala, yes, Balala. There was the other guy from Mount Kenya. Okay, na of course Mudavadi, wote wakaenda kwa mchujo, ndio Raila kashinda akakuwa flag bearer 2007. And so the democratic way is hiyo nafasi ifunguliwe. Tunataka Sifuna agombee hiyo flag bearer, tunataka Babu Wino agombee hiyo flag bearer, tunataka whoever wins then it becomes the ratified flag bearer of ODM. Hata wakina Joho wanalilia hao wote wakuje kwa mchujo wapi? Kasarani, na delegates wa ODM wafanye nini? Wachague nani atakuwa flag bearer. And it's still possible kukuwa na party leader ambaye sio flag bearer. It's still possible. So we must get everything flowing rightly, and I don't think we will make any ambiguity in the place that there will be confusion on the distribution or rather hierarchy of power. I don't think so. And so let everything be made clear. Lakini watu wale wanaogopa uchaguzi kwa ODM wajiondoe tu mapema. Sisi tunataka kuongozwa na viongozi ambao tumechagua. So kama Buru anaogopa viongozi ajiuzulu, uchaguzi ajiuzulu tu mapema. Wanga, kama unaogopa uchaguzi jiuzulu tu mapema. Kwa sababu tunahitaji kuchagua viongozi wetu wa kitaifa wa chama cha ODM. Na hiyo NDC iitwe mapema. Tuache kuzungushana. Na masuala ya broad based, narudia tena, ODM ni ODM, broad based ni broad based. They are not one and the same thing. ODM is a political party. Broad based is an arrangement by Ruto to help himself get to 2027. It is not a political party. It is not even a government structure. It's not a constitutional structure. So you can't fight for broad based. You should fight for your political party. Jubilee fight for Jubilee. ODM fight for ODM. UDA fight for UDA. The other parties fight for them as political parties. Those are the legal entity. Do you know broad-based is not even a legal entity? It's not possible to take broad-based to the courts. They don't even have a certificate called broad-based. So nyi watu mnakimbia hapa kusema sisi ni broad-based. We must fight to get into broad-based. Niliona post ingine hapo na lie. Wanasema those who are opposed to broad-based should leave ODM. Mimi nashindwa kwa nini watu wanachanganyikiwa hivi? Mtu anasema tena with the same breath that wale those opposed to broad-based government should leave ODM. So mimi nauliza, what is the relationship between ODM and broad-based? You should say those who are opposed to broad-based government should leave broad-based because that is where broad-based is. But opposed to broad-based should leave ODM. Unaona hiyo kasumba vile inachanganya watu. So tuachane na huo ujinga wote, sisi tusimame vizuri na tuhakikishe kwamba nchi yetu haitaharibika, na vyama vyetu vya kisiasa ni muhimu kwa nchi hii. Tusikubali William Ruto afungashe vyama vyote, tubaki na UDA. Vile viliomtalia, yale mateso mtateseka. Mtaishi kusema. Haya, naomba kumalizia hapo. Nashukuru tu sana kwa wengi ambao umekuwa sehemu ya kipindi hiki, na taraji kwamba tutapatana tena hiyo kesho. Ni saa 8:04 masaa Afrika Mashariki. Nataka kufungasha. Unajua siku ya ibada pia inawai. Kwa hivyo naomba tu mniachilie nikangatuke, alafu nifanye maandalizi ya ibada. Cha muhimu hapa ni wewe kukumbuka kwamba kama uja subscribe kwa Sound Candy Talk, wale mko TikTok, kuna link hapo juu. Enda to support kwa YouTube. Our YouTube channel needs to be revamped. And so like video, leave a comment on the video, just help us. And then of course, we want also to reach out to you to support this program. Unaona hii light ambayo inafanya sura yangu unaiona, okay? Wengi wetu ni black men in black Africa. So it's very difficult for us for the camera to locate us. And so these lights are costly in terms of power consumption. So ili tumulipe Wandai pela tokens yake ndio uone hii kipindi vile unavyoiona, hela tunatumia. So wale mko TikTok unaona hii hapa. Hapa kuna ka till number. Imeandikwa till 516575. Hapo ukitupa hapo kitu ka token, tutashukuru kama Sound Candy Talk. And then of course on those following on Facebook and on YouTube, there is a number scrolling down your screen or below your screen. Is +2547184554585. Unaweza tumia hiyo kuwasiliana na mimi kwa WhatsApp. And then of course pia ukitaka kutuma mchango wako wa kusaidia kipindi, pia tumia hiyo namba +2547184554585, especially those of you that are in the diaspora. Bernard is the name. Pia nikukumbushe tu hiyo namba pia ukiniwasiliana nayo, kuna group yetu ya WhatsApp kule, hii siasa inachemkanga huko, tunaongea huko kabla tukuja hata kwa show. Ukitaka kujiunga na hiyo group ya Sound Candy Talk debate, you inbox me in WhatsApp, nitakutumia link, alafu utaweza kujoin the debate on the WhatsApp group. It's a vibrant group. We have people from all over the diaspora as well as across Africa, and of course locally here in Kenya, who are interested in the political discourse of the country. And so if you would want to be part of that, inbox me and I'll be able to link you into the group. But for now, I want to call it a day or a night for that matter. We meet again in the next broadcast. But just something to leave you with right now as I sign out. Here we go.
Arambe! Ati Machakos mnasemaje? Ati Masako mnasemaje? Na Ukambani mnasemaje? Wasema tutan. Na huyu Caleb wetu ni nini? Wapi tutan ya Caleb nione? Sawa. Basi. Arambe! Ati Machakos mnasemaje? Ati Masako mnasemaje? Na Ukambani mnasemaje? Wasema tutan. Na huyu Caleb wetu ni nini? Wapi tutan ya Caleb nione?